Okay, I've received a request in the comment section to make a video about Bahrain for the benefit of one of our top contributors, Dolph Lundgren. And I've also been asked to teach him the difference between a tow and a dive bomb. Now, I have requested this of Dolph because if you look at Amberella's comment there, better still, Dolph needs to make a video as he's such the expert on Bahrain, and then we can all learn. Indeed. Like I say, I have requested that Dolph makes this video about Bahrain, and I've requested it several times, and he, to this day, has not done so. Maybe he's working on that. I don't know. But if you're able to do that, Dolph, we'd all appreciate it. I'm sure we'll all subscribe to your channel and make contributions on your channel too. But I will make a video on Bahrain, but I think it's important when we are learning. It's very useful to set the learner homework. Set them the objective of going out and having to do the research themselves, because that way it can enhance their perspective and cement any learning. So I will set Dolph some homework later on in this video, and then once Dolph has accomplished that, I will go ahead and make a video about Bahrain for Dolph. Now, some people are making comments about Dolph. He's a bluffer who repeats things he's heard others say. That's true. Look, Dolph has bought the book, The Troll's Handbook, okay? And he's read that, and so he copies the techniques. He projects that the content creator is creating hate. He projects that the content creator is not got any basis of fact for what they're saying, and that Dolph himself is the one with the facts. We've seen all these things that Dolph does. He stops short of being a yerry and calling everybody a psychopath and having mental disorders and everything. But he's not far off that level. And Jack's got a point. In fairness, Dolph's pretty thick and not prone to change his views based on evidence. This is what we're dealing with, Jack. But look, we've got to cater for all abilities in the class, and we've got to differentiate the material so that all learners can access it. Okay, this is what we have to do. I know it's a little bit, when you're dealing with somebody like that, that's kind of like licking the windows in the classroom and distracting everybody. But look, we've got to be inclusive. Anyway, just to address Dolph himself. Now, the power of the internet is absolutely incredible, because obviously everybody's got a username on here, and so when I read the name Dolph Lundgren, I thought, is that short for Adolf? Is it short for dolphin? But I did a Google search, and I've actually found out who he is, and this is him. This is our top troll, Dolph Lundgren. So thank you very much for your contributions to our channel, Dolph. We all appreciate it, and we all appreciate the insight that you share with us. So I want to respond to you personally, because I did respond to you earlier today, and I don't see a reply to it, Dolph, which is unusual. So I don't think you saw it. Where shall we go? Scroll back up here. That was my response, lengthy response, that I typed out on my phone when I was on the loo. Here it is from Dolph. He says, so are you arguing Red Bull Racing deliberately broke the cost cap rules? And have you got any evidence of that? Right? And he follows up, as expected, you have not replied to the facts I gave you in my long rebuttal. Right? So, am I arguing that Red Bull deliberately broke the cost cap rules? And have I got any evidence of what? Are you asking me for evidence of them deliberately breaking the rules, or evidence of them breaking the rules, Dolph? Is there a difference? You know, these are the factual questions that I sometimes struggle with. Um, Now, I did reply, and I don't know why sometimes the order of comments isn't. I tried to reply directly to that comment, but my reply is down here. So I put the level of retardation on display with every comment you make is incomprehensible. Now, I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what I wrote. Did Red Bull Racing deliberately break the cost cap rules? Well, there is a budget. You manage that budget. You have an accounts department that manage that budget. 9 out of 10 teams managed to manage the budget. So when you go shopping with £50 in your pocket, it's your responsibility to ensure that is all that you spend. You think that getting to the till, the checkout, whatever you want to call it in your country of origin, Dolph, right? Putting your items through the till and the total being £55 or euros or dollars, wherever you're from, means that you didn't deliberately break the budget. You don't get to keep £55 worth of food, Dolph. You can't just go, yeah, but I didn't mean it. I didn't do it on purpose. Right, okay, but you don't get to keep it, okay? You have to put some of that back. You don't get to keep that advantage of spending more than you've got, okay? That's how that shit works. I don't know how to make it any easier. You know, in this country we have a game show on the TV, and it's called Come Dine With. No, it's not called. What am I talking about? I think it's called Dinner Dates. And what happens is there are, say, 3 single people, and each one has got to prepare a meal, and then somebody of the opposite sex, so let's say it's 3 guys, each of these guys has got to prepare a meal to impress the girl. And then this girl comes round and has a meal with each of the guys on different nights, and then chooses which guy that she then wants to go on a date with. Now, if you're given a budget of £50 with which to make that meal, and you spend £55 because then you can buy a fancy bottle of champagne rather than just a cheap bottle of wine, what do you think is likely to be more impressive? What is likely to result in greater success if that success is determined by how well the person is, by what is on the table? Well, you don't get to keep those advantages that you've gained through overspending, Dolph. That's the way this works. Anyway, it is your responsibility to monitor your growing total as you shop, as it was for Red Bull to monitor its expenditure as it went and not exceed the cap. You think that I didn't mean for my shopping basket to total £55 means you get to keep the food. Your mind operates in a different reality, and somehow you think that you understand what a fact is. You think that you've presented anything worthy of consideration, and you think you've disproven anything I've ever presented. You are wired in a strange way. However, we all need to give you an opportunity, Dolph. We need to give you an opportunity, and I am confident that you can rise to the challenge. I'm confident, but I'm going to help you on your way. You have an issue with how the FIA dealt with track limits in Bahrain 2021, and you believe that to be equally corrupt as Abu Dhabi 2021. So, what I would like you to do is go on the FIA website, okay, which is this one. I loaded the tab up earlier. And if you go to FIA and then go to the sport tab at the top, okay, and then come down here to competitions, World Championship, and then go across to FIA Formula One World Championship. Okay, and if you click on that, it loads up this page, and if you scroll down a little bit, it's got F1 official documents. And if you click this little button here, it's got filter by season 2023, and then event. And I'll just give you a random example. So, for example, let's look at, I don't know, let's say 2020, and then looks at, I don't know, at random, Italian Grand Prix 2020. And what we can do, we can scroll down here, and it gives you the FIA documents from that race. And like, for example, I'll just show you what they look like, really. So it's got the final race classification, and it's got here what happened in the race. So here this is what you're looking for, Dolph, but it's not this, or they've not penalised here. Things like race deleted lap times, turn 11, race deleted lap times, turn 4. So you can check out there to see which drivers have been penalised for exceeding track limits, okay, or whether they just deleted the lap time so that it wouldn't count as being qualifying for that fastest lap point. Okay, so you can tell us whether drivers were penalised or whether they were just deleted lap times. Okay, and then you can have a look maybe at the other kind of instance that happened. There's one here, car 33. And what happens when you click on it? Let's have a look at that one. Stewards, having received a report from the race director, have considered the following matter. Max Verstappen of Aston Martin Red Bull Racing had an incident at turn 2 with car 11. The stewards viewed video evidence and concluded there was no deliberate crowding by car 33 on car 11, and no further action required. And Gary Connolly was one of the stewards that told us that. I've had a look at a few of the other ones. You know, I'd be lying if I say I hadn't prepared some of these, Dolph. You know, so there's one here. Oh, this one's 2019 Italy. The stewards have received a request from Red Bull to allow car 33 to start the race despite failing to set a qualifying time in Q1. The stewards grant permission. Okay. What's this one? What's this one? This one's Italy 2019. Lance Stroll, car 18 left the track as the result of a collision caused by car 5. However, car 18 rejoined the track in an unsafe manner. Do you remember that first corner incident at Saudi, where they kind of started the race and a car went off the track, came back onto the track in an unsafe manner, and Lewis had to dive out of the way of it. And in doing so, Esteban Ocon went through and overtook Lewis Hamilton, meaning that then when the race got red flagged and got restarted, Lewis Hamilton, Red Bull would only allow Max to start on third if Lewis Hamilton was in second. Do you remember that one? Well, what happens when you rejoin the track in an unsafe manner is that you get 2 points awarded, and that meant that he got 6 in the a drive-through penalty as well. A drive-through penalty and 2 points on his licence. So that's what Lance Stroll got for but it resulted in a collision. So you only get a penalty if the other guy doesn't get out of the way. If the other guy's good enough to get out of the way, you don't get penalised. Is that how it works? But Lance Stroll got a drive-through penalty, and he got 2 points on his licence for that. What's the next one? Sebastian Vettel involved in that incident with Lance Stroll. So car 5 left the track and rejoined in an unsafe manner. When rejoining, car 5 collided with car 18. It's a breach of an article. Okay, and you can have a look which regulation and the sporting code, the FIA International Sporting Code, which I know that you are very familiar with, Dolph, because you keep telling us that the purpose of the unlapping procedure isn't for sporting fairness, because obviously you're such an expert on the FIA International Sporting Code. But Sebastian Vettel's penalty for rejoining the track in an unsafe manner was a 10-second stop-go penalty, and 3 points awarded on his license. That's the sorts of penalties that drivers get for that. Now, what have we got here? 2019. Alex Albon left the track, gained a lasting advantage by leaving the track. Is that like performing an overtake when you're off the track? The decision is a 5-second time penalty and 1 point awarded on his driving license there. And the stewards have gone. Nevertheless, the stewards believe that the actions of the driver of car 20 were consistent with the current approach of driving standards. Let them race. So that was consistent with let them race, and it was a penalty point. And, you know, fair play to the stewards. It was Gary Connolly and Derek Warwick that, you know how to properly apportion these penalties in such circumstances. So, you know, this is the usefulness of being able to have these documents that are available to you. And these are the documents that are going to be of benefit to you, Dolph. So, which one are we looking at now? Oh, we're into 2020, aren't we? That was that 2020. Was that the 2020? That's what I originally looked at. So this was Max Verstappen. The stewards found that Max wasn't guilty of deliberate crowding, so there was no further action there. But at the same race in 2020, Gary Connolly, again the steward, Lewis Hamilton entered the pit lane when it was closed, which is a breach of the regulations. So Lewis got a 10-second stop-go penalty and 2 penalty points on his license. You know, you commit an infringement, you know, you get penalised and you get penalties for that. But at least they're consistent. You know, that's the main thing. At least we can trust the FIA and their stewards to make sure that they apply penalties where they're due, and you know every driver gets treated the same, which is useful. So Dolph, my task for you is to, for the 2019 seasons and the 2020 seasons, I want you to record all the incidents of penalties given to drivers for exceeding track limits. Okay, you'll be able to find them via this section here. You've got 2020 season and 2019 season, 2020 season. Okay, and then you can go through each of those events, each of the documents at those events, and tell us all of the instances of which drivers were awarded which penalties at which of those races. And whilst you're doing that, if you can, like the document I showed you about Alex Albon, if you can tell us as well, which one is it? Let's have a look at the Alex Albon one. There we go. Is it this one? It's whereby any cars that have left the track and gained an advantage, what was the result of that? Were they given a penalty? Were they given any points on their license? So if you can give us all of that information, then I'll make a video, because I can identify all of the drivers that have been penalised for track limits in those 2 seasons, because obviously we're taking precedent now, aren't we? We're looking at what the sport does, you know, and consistency. So we'll look at 2019, 2020. 2 years is good enough, because again, Michael Massey was the race director for both of them seasons, so it's all under his decision making. And it'll be similar teams of stewards, and under this mantra, let them race. Okay, so you can find out what those penalties actually are, so you can let us know them, and you can also let us know which of the drivers have been penalised, for instance, where they've overtaken another car off track or gained a lasting advantage by going off the track, and what was the consequence of doing so. Okay, and that will help us with doing our video about Bahrain. Okay, I look forward to it. So until then, mate, you look after yourself. Okay, can't wait to hear some more from you in the comments section. And I speak for everybody in that regard. I'm sure we all look forward to your comments, and yeah, can't wait for you to return back to us with your valuable research and insight. Them facts will be incredible to see. Thanks.